snow settling into my left, rolling Mach 9 with her hair on fire, is my beautiful wife, the beautiful girl. It's Beach. Good morning, sweetheart.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Okay, how are you?
I'm looking at it rain at the moment, which I guess is okay. It'll make the weeds and the grass grow, I suppose. It's going to be a big weekend, back-to-back big weekends. We have a birthday party for the 9-year-old coming up on Sunday that we are hosting. So we are in full-on party planning mode,
Yes,
or
we
maybe
are.
full-on party execution mode because the planning's pretty much completed.
Yes,
And then next week, we get to enjoy a birthday party.
we do.
Rather than have to scramble around to host it. But I guess I hadn't really considered, with Alea's being celebrated the weekend after her birthday, that grandson and youngest daughter line right up birthday-wise. And then you throw in a anniversary for good measure, and then you got Oaks Day on Friday and Derby Day on Saturday, and then Mother's Day the following weekend.
Oh, that's right.
The hits just keep on coming.
I know.
He is the 5-time winner of the coveted Ohio Newshawk Award. He's the 2-time Silver Sound nominee, covering every corner of the globe: London, Budapest, Rio, Tokyo, and Village Field. He's Sam Gormley and the sports. Morning, Sam.
Morning, Ralph.
How you doing?
I'm tired. How about you?
I'm not. I'm a little tired. I worked pretty hard outside yesterday, but you're tired because you stayed up late watching the draft.
Yeah. I was up late with
Were
it
the
all.
Bengals down around like 17 or something?
Yeah, they
like that,
picked
or in that
17th.
neighborhood?
17th. Yep.
What'd they do with that pick?
Shamar Stewart.
Shamar Stewart, not Shadur Sanders. Shamar Stewart.
No, it wasn't quite as bad as the Shadur Sanders pick because I mean, obviously the Bengals don't need that, but yeah, not a pick I'm necessarily loving.
Hey Sam, does your boss suffer from xenophobia? You familiar with xenophobia?
No comment.
Right.
Okay.
He
Well,
just
first
is
of all, do you know what it is?
No
before
comment.
ruling out
We're
whether
just
you-
gonna say no comment.
Xenophobia is the fear of new things or ideas. It's characterized by discomfort, anxiety, or aversion toward anything unfamiliar or different. Oh, fine.
Which one of us?
I was going to say, I don't know that I typically, to a new idea, I think, well, don't bring me an idea, bring me a plan. But I'm not,
See,
not opposed to the
I know
to the
that
idea.
for you to be more likely to say yes to a new idea, if there's some sort of new technology involved,
yes.
Yeah, sure.
could just be like, hey, have you seen this new piece of technology?
And he's
they're-
going to say,
yep.
hurrah!
Yep, we're in.
Yes.
I don't know if you all have noticed, but technology is undefeated. Like
When it comes to you, absolutely.
Well, but we've not gotten to a technological era and said, you know what, let's go back to doing it the old way. It
Now,
just doesn't. It doesn't happen.
How much technology is Brady? Like, is he doing much with it? Like, can he open your phone
will.
and all that, or?
He will step over. He will step over 6 toys to get to a remote control or a phone.
But they are quickly put
Yeah.
up. And so Granddad asked him the other day, have you noticed how fast that whatever it was, the phone, the remote, whatever it was, disappears when you come toward it?
He'll
And he
lock
was
on it.
serious. He looked at him and asked him, do you realize how fast?
And
Sure enough.
Did
you
he
know,
did he look back at you and say, I'm your grandson, right? It runs in the
He's
blood.
Eventually he will.
Gonna have to get quicker.
There are buttons on there, and you know how.
And he wants to push them.
I want to push the buttons
So,
too. So
we try to keep the utility room door closed, but I'm in and out of there quite a bit. And I don't know if Granddad has noticed or not, but so don't tell Sam. So he sits in the floor next to Irona, which is our Roomba, and he just pushes all the buttons. Well, Irona doesn't know what to do, and I really don't care, right? Because I'm busy doing other things, and he's not into anything else, like cabinets or whatever. But yeah, he'll push any button. It's so sweet.
that's all right.
the apple
They're
doesn't fall
at
far
his-
from the tree, right?
That's exactly
They're
right.
at his level. Anything that's about the height of an outlet is of interest to him. But that's okay. But yes, you can see from 8 feet away. He's going to have to get a little more swift and move quicker.
Oh, he
Which,
will.
By the way, he will.
He will.
Without a doubt. But you can see the wheels turning on the thought process of I see that remote or I see that phone or I see that tablet, and then he takes his eye off the prize while he maneuvers his way toward it. And then, lo and behold, when he gets there, they're gone. So it must have been a mirage. I think I called it a mirage, didn't I?
Yeah, I think
It's like
so.
you thought off in the distance you saw a remote control, but when you got there, it was just desert. Storms likely are going to impact your outdoor events this afternoon and evening. At least a possibility you're going to get some rain throughout the region. The highest storm chances during the afternoon hours over the next 12 hours. Going to see some heavy rain. Get a lightning notification here for our area within about an hour ago. Drying out and cooling down this weekend. We're going to see more unsettled weather for Derby week, watching potential severe risks on Tuesday, which is 5-0 Tuesday, and Thursday, which is Thurby. I know a lot of people, it used to be that Oaks Day was Kentucky's day at the races, and then Saturday was kind of the world's day at the races. But then the world decided, well, we will make a 2-day event of it. So they come in for the Oaks and the Derby now, which forced people to Thurby. And then now you've even got some of the international travelers that say, well, let's just make it a weekend party. And then they come in on Thursday. So I guess next thing you know, we'll just be celebrating the Derby on Thunder over Louisville. And then that'll be it. We'll see thunderstorms today, a 90% chance of rain, a high of 75. Storms early tonight, a low of 56. And then tomorrow, the marathon, the Derby Marathon is tomorrow morning. It is 68 for your high on your Saturday. 72 for your Sunday afternoon. It looks nice for the next couple of days, Sunday and Monday. Warm on Tuesday, so 85. As far as I know, that might be the warmest temperature of 2025 so far. And then into the 70s as we turn for home into Derby weekend. In a rare, a rare criticism of Putin by Donald Trump, he urged yesterday the Russian leader to stop it. He just, on Truth Social, he said, Vladimir, stop. And he was basically saying, quit bombing Kiev when we're trying to get a peace deal done. A lot of people try and say that he's endeared to Putin or he's a friend of Putin or whatever. I think he just understands what a madman and egomaniac he is. Some people say it takes one to know one. But he has just tried to treat him with, if you antagonize him, you're just more likely to get bullheadedness and stubbornness, etc. But at least he called him out yesterday. He said 5,000 soldiers a week are dying, and he said, let's get the peace deal done. So I don't know if they're close. I don't know if a deal is imminent or not, but it seemed like maybe we're closer than we have been if they'll just play nice for a few days. The president has also asked, or at least the administration has asked the Supreme Court to allow enforcement of a ban on transgender people in the military while the legal challenges proceed. He is basically saying if he will... basically, this is the order of the administration. If you're going to challenge it legally, you have to let the executive order stand while it's challenged, not the other way around. And we'll see how the Supreme Court maybe will rule on that. A train and semi-truck collided in Elizabethtown at the same railroad crossing where the train versus the semi-truck occurred in December. Happened yesterday morning about 8 o'clock at the Nicholas Street crossing off of US 62. Cut kind of that tractor trailer, the trailer aspect in half, and did not appear to damage the tractor portion of that truck. The accident impacted travel in several locations throughout the southern end of Elizabethtown. No injuries were reported in either of those accidents, but a big mess. A firefighter with nearly 60 years of experience has died in the line of duty. A firefighter with the Taylor County Fire Department, 78-year-old Charlie Shaw, died on Sunday at his residence 5 days after being involved in a vehicle accident while responding to a call. Shaw served over 59 years as a firefighter, became a volunteer firefighter in 1965, and a full-time career firefighter in 1970. He served many years as the Campbellsville Taylor County Rescue Chief and retired from that position. He has also served many years as an area coordinator for Kentucky State Fire Rescue Training until his retirement in 2013. His fellow firefighters called him Senior Chief. And I believe that, I know for a fact that I saw our coroner, Kevin Ferris, and obviously the owner-operator of the Emergency Management Services, said that Senior Chief, Charlie Shaw, was a mentor of his, and I think I saw him say that it gave him his start in the business at the beginning of his career. So not just important to Campbellsville and Taylor County, but important to the region and many firefighters and first responders as well. The Real ID deadline is coming up May 7th, and we've talked about it off and on. Yesterday I told you that the senators, a group of senators from Kentucky, are lobbying, asking for an extension. But we have a story from the Associated Press that says what to know as the U.S. prepares to require Real ID for many air travelers next month. And then in the story, it says, this is a national story. It said officials in at least one state have requested another extension before enforcement begins. Oh, good. That's us they're talking about. So what is Real ID? You'll hear it referred to differently in different portions of the country. The biggest difference is it has that star in the center. It's like a yellow star with a circle around it. And so some states are calling it a star ID to delineate the difference between the two. And it basically, I told you yesterday, this is an outgrowth of the 9/11 attacks in 2001. It's a law that was passed in 2005. We've been talking about this for 20 years. For the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, we've been getting extensions. For more than 2 years, we have known that the deadline is coming up May 7th of 2025. And so if you've been paying any attention whatsoever, you've been made aware of this. And so that's why I believe the excuses are kind of flimsy on, well, I didn't know. Well, I think that's just a convenient excuse because you had to have known at some point. But the question is the country ready? We're just talking about Kentucky, but is the country ready? And obviously not everyone is, but the Department of Homeland Security said in a report earlier this year that 56% of IDs in circulation nationally met the requirements as of January 2024. So we're talking about 15, 16 months ago that more than half of them already complied. In 16 states, more than 3 in 5 met the new standards. The number was below 2 out of 5 in 22 states, and I have a feeling we're one of them. About 81% of people flying recently have shown ID that would work once the new requirements kick in. And this is the thing. If you are an infrequent traveler, if you fly once a year, you are probably much less likely to have a Real ID. If you travel for business or you are a frequent traveler, I'm going to go out on a limb and say you likely have a passport, either as a secondary form of identification or because you know that travel is part of your life, that you are already going to have leaned into getting this Real ID. Do you have to have one? Absolutely not. You don't have to have one to drive. You don't have to have one to vote. You don't have to have one to receive federal benefits. You have to have one if you want to go to a nuclear power plant. You have to have one if you want to go to Fort Knox. You have to have one if you want to get through TSA and get on a commercial aircraft. But if you don't do any of those things, then you don't have to go down with your hair on fire like you got to get this done by May the 7th. In some states, this May 7th deadline is irrelevant. When Taylor lived in Florida, she had a Real ID because every ID issued by the state of Florida was a Real ID. Same in Texas. Guess what? We should have done the same thing. Mm-hmm. Just do it. Make it, they could have easily modeled our behavior like that and just said, just simplify. They could have made it less expensive. I don't think it's an unreasonable expense considering that it's good for 8 years where your old driver's licenses are like you're renewing them every 4 years or so. So it does say, by the way, you kind of wonder, are they going to give an extension? And no, the Transportation Security Administration said yesterday the agency does not intend to delay the Real ID again, especially when there's only maybe one state, and it being us, that's saying we need more time. We don't be those people. The Grayson County High School students who recently passed end of program assessments in their career and technical education pathway earned a combined 375 college credit hours and saved about $71,000 in tuition based on the KCTCS rates. And it's being called a fantastic start to their post-secondary journey. Not only are the students ahead of the game academically, they are also well ahead of their state counterparts, a pass rate of nearly 70% for all EOP tests taken. So in these categories, Grayson County High School students pace ahead of the state average. We pace ahead in animal science, in marketing, significantly in marketing, by the way. Long heritage of the marketing program there. Computer programming, plant science systems, administrative support, and culinary and food services, all pacing ahead of the state average there at Grayson County High School. Speaking of, the track program celebrated senior night this week. They hosted that before their home meet. Amelia Hayes, Rayleigh Shepard, Houston Brooks, Tyler Portman, Ryan Higdon were all recognized with their parents. If you're watching, you see their photographs. And then, of course, they had their meet. So they're kind of rounding out the home portion of their season. And, of course, we'll have their districts and regionals, et cetera, coming up, as will all the other spring sports. At the beginning of the show, we mentioned that the Bengals took the 17th pick in the draft last night. The Titans took the first pick with, Cam Ward? He
Correct.
was quarterback from where?
From Miami.
From Miami. That's right. I saw him come out with the U, his hand shaped like a U. The Maxwell Hairston from Kentucky went to the Bills. And was Ray Davis still a Bill?
He is.
Okay, so we got a couple of Kentucky kids now that will be, assume Hairston makes the team. They drafted him 30th, so they likely interested enough into him.
He's going to make the team, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, continues a good heritage. Mike Edwards is in the Chiefs secondary. He came through that UK defense. And so Hairston's he's got lightning speed. So looking forward to seeing him play in the NFL. And so the draft continues today. Second and third rounds today?
Correct. It's 6 o'clock, and then tomorrow is 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th at 11 a.m.
2 days ago, when I mentioned, again, I'll remind you, in case you missed yesterday's show, Whitney and I were talking on Wednesday, and I inverted Trent Noah and Travis Perry, who, by the way, it's hard for me to remember Trent Noah. I want to call him Trevor Noah because of the comedian on The Daily Show. So I'm likely to get it mixed up all over the place. But I did float the idea of wondering, would Pat Kelsey show an interest in the player departing the University of Kentucky who got into the transfer portal at the 11th hour? And lo and behold, Louisville is interested, but so is Arkansas. So Travis Perry had originally signed. He's a Kentucky kid. He wanted to play at the University of Kentucky no matter who the coach was. So he had signed with Coach Calipari, and then Calipari leaves, and then he kept his commitment to the university. But then 11th hour gets out, and then supposedly Arkansas is one of the teams interested. This is this not gamesmanship on Cal's part? He doesn't legitimately want Travis Perry as a marquee piece of the Arkansas program, surely.
I don't know. And with these agents, too, that are feeding this information, you never really know what's true and what's not.
Trying to drive up the price to Western.
What's contact really mean?
Right. True.
I mean, it could just be, because you got to imagine he has relationships with some of these assistant coaches that were under there. Maybe, it could be something as simple as Tyler Eulis sent him a text message and said, "Hey, good luck, man," or something like that. And technically, Arkansas contacted him.
Yeah, you can say, "Well, I heard from Arkansas,"
or maybe Cal even sent him a message and said, "Hey, good luck. If I can help, let me know," or something.
Sure.
It could be.
Absolutely. Well, that's how Cal got the Arkansas job was, if I can help you find a coach, let me know. And they said, well, come help us find a coach. And then lo and behold, it's going to be you. But the reason that I mentioned that Cal was so interested in Travis Perry while he was at Kentucky, in your home state, even if they're not going to play, you've got to take the best Kentucky kids. That's just a tradition. You do the same with Darius Miller. You do the same with Dominique Hawkins. Dante Allen didn't work out so well, but you at least, took him. And so that was what the Trent Noah and Travis Perry was. It just turns out that the cupboard is a little bit full. Those guys got some good exposure, and now there's a likelihood that they can go somewhere else, maybe to a directional school, maybe somewhere else, maybe in the ACC, maybe somewhere else in the SEC. I just have a hard time seeing him land in Fayetteville. Nobody wants to live in Fayetteville. Eddyville seems like a metropolis compared to Fayetteville, I suppose. And then the other headline of the day, the UK athletics program could be formed into a limited liability company as college athletics turns more into a business than ever before. Universities are going to have no choice but to operate them like, like not necessarily publicly traded, but public businesses operating in the commercial space, and profit and loss and revenue generation, et cetera. So it's becoming more complex than ever before. We got to get to a break. The Weekend Funny Tweets is coming up, and before the show is over, we've got your Chart Toppers Pearl of Wisdom and Point to Ponder all ahead. You're on In the Know.
At Owensboro Health Family Medicine in Litchfield, Dr. Priyank Chauhan provides compassionate care for adults and seniors. Board certified in internal and geriatric medicine, he's dedicated to managing chronic conditions, preserving independence, and enhancing the quality of life. Proudly serving Grayson County, because your health matters. Schedule today. Call Owensboro Health Family Medicine in Litchfield at 270-259-8888.
The mobile unit from Intensive Health brings trusted, high-quality addiction treatment right to your community. Serving 5 counties, including Grayson, our innovative services offer telehealth treatment, mental health counseling, medical health assessments, primary care, and general medical services. We also offer hepatitis C and HIV screenings and treatment. No more long travels for essential care. We are discreet and accessible. Visit intensivehealth.com to find out more. A StepWorks recovery service.
Every great team has a leader, someone who inspires their teammates to be their best. Every child deserves that same encouragement and support, but many boys navigating the family court system do it alone, without a role model to help guide them. As a CASA volunteer, you're more than just an advocate for a child. You're a coach, a friend, a voice they can count on. You'll stand up for them in court, cheer them on in life, and help them believe in their own potential. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to show up, listen, and fight for their future. Now is your chance to step up. Join the team. Volunteer with CASA today.
Will you be the light for a child in need? Become a CASA volunteer with CASA of the Heartland. Call our office at 270-982-2274 or visit our website, casaheartland.org, to learn how you can change a child's story.
Quality paves the way. That's the motto of Scotty's Contracting in Stone. All of the crushed stone products from Scotty's quarry in Litchfield are mined underground. Scotty's Contracting and Paving provides cleaner products made from pure limestone. If you agree that quality makes the difference, contact the team at Scotty's Contracting in Stone for crushed stone products for your project at 259-5696. That's 259-5696. Our quarry is located on Quarry Road in Litchfield.
Midway Pharmacy is your trusted local partner in health and wellness, offering free delivery so you never have to worry about picking up your medications. The friendly staff knows you by name and is always ready to assist you. Living and raising our families in the same community, they understand your needs. With a wide range of services and personalized care, Midway Pharmacy is here to make your life easier and healthier. Visit or call any countywide location today of Midway Pharmacy.
Intel could be gearing up for massive layoffs, according to a report in Bloomberg. Michael Kastner has the story.
The chip maker could be cutting 20% of its workforce soon, around 21,000 workers. Company has seen revenue drop 7% year over year. Intel already laid off 15,000 workers last August. Intel said it won't comment on rumors and speculation.
European Union antitrust regulators have slapped big penalties on Apple and Meta for violating EU digital competition laws. William Denslow reports that Apple has been fined $570 million.
The European Commission found that the company failed to provide consumers with alternative offers outside of its App Store. Meta, meanwhile, was hit with a $228 million penalty due to its consent or pay advertising model.
The move follows a lengthy investigation into whether the companies have complied with laws that are designed to allow smaller companies into the tech market. Tech Report, I'm Mark Mayfield.
Today is Child Care Professionals Day.
Shout out.
It's DNA Day. Did we ever decide what we're doing about 23andMe?
No.
Maybe too late to make that decision. Or the decision might have been made for us already. It is Hairstylist Appreciation Day. Listen, it's a lot of hard work keeping me look this good. It's National Arbor Day. It's National Crayola Day, Plumber's Day, Telephone Day, Zucchini Bread Day, and we did not get to celebrate Hogs in a Comforter Day yesterday.
I had
but,
great intentions.
It was on the schedule.
It really
so
was.
That's good.
In my calendar written down. If it's written down in this little teal book, it's usually happening.
Usually
but
going to happen. We ran out of daylight yesterday.
Literally
ran out of daylight. I had a big fire blazing yesterday, Sam.
Really?
Like, smelled like I've been to a 5-alarm fire.
Well,
it's been crazy.
listen,
So did my truck.
I like the good bonfire, but yeah, that smell. You got to get in there. You got to start scrubbing once you get in the shower.
It gets in your nostrils, and then I went back and was like, I had my truck near the fire. And did you smell it like I told you would? Did you pay any attention? Of course, we're both having trouble smelling.
Were
That's
you?
what we have to
Was
call
don't have any
was it
idea
some
what's
brush?
going
I guess.
Yeah, so I've been, every time the wind blows, we get a bounty of sticks and limbs down. And so I had already cleaned up once from the wintertime, and then we got our storms again. So it fell again. But I also, over spring break, I cleared out a big wooded area, took down a bunch of small trees just to open it up and delimbed a bunch of things. So I'll have them in bundles. Well, I needed to mow yesterday, so I had to get the bundles out of the way. And so it was...
Did you make any
busy
s'mores
day.
while you did it?
No, I'm not a s'mores person.
Yeah,
I'll take the dogs, but I don't want any s'mores. Here are the weekend
Wow.
funny tweets. These from women. Claradactyl, that's a clever name, not pterodactyl. Claradactyl said, "Just deleted a please from my email. Watch out, world. I'm feeling dangerous today." You ever have like a polite word in there and go, "No, I don't want to make it sound like I'm being overly polite."
Well, yeah,
I'd like you to
it's even
hear
like
a more
the.
direct tone.
Do you go thanks or thank you? You know, it's if, at the end. You know, thanks is a little bit lighter.
Yeah, a thanks is hey, thanks.
Yeah, thank you though
A
is
thanks
like
almost
thank you.
seems
I
like
mean it.
It would come with like pistol fingers, a little, hey, thanks. But thank you is
More from the heart. You know, thanks is like the one you throw on at the end of any email. But thank you, that's one that you really need it.
thank you requires at least some consideration on sentiment. Ugg says, "For years I thought an oncologist was just the doctor they kept on call all the time."
Bless it.
It does sound like that.
But I'm happy that person doesn't know the true meaning of or what the true profession of oncologist is.
I'm an
I guess
oncologist.
An
Oh, do you
oncologist
ever
probably
get a
is
day-
on call all the time though in their defense.
Ever get a
so.
day off if you're an oncologist? Red says, "How do they know an animal is extinct? Like, you looked everywhere?" Would be hard to look the entire globe.
I agree with that.
Unicorn Bat 13 said, "According to my Apple Watch, I am off to a great start when I wake up at 5:30 to clean cat vomit off the rug."
Well,
Yeah, I don't.
it's
part of that.
it's better than waking up at 5:30 and like going to the bathroom and stepping in the cat vomit.
Ooh, that would be worse. Yeah. So that's perfect reason not to have a cat.
Or
Cooks and
dog. I mean,
books-
it could be dog. You know,
Could be. Cooks and Books with Ash said, "It's amazing how much you can accomplish around the house under the threat of someone coming over."
Hey,
Yeah.
Truth.
Talk about a 2-minute tidy.
listen. When I lived near Sam's locale, I did some really hardcore 2-minute tidies a few times.
The Real Mama Heat said, "Your future doctor is using Chat GPT to pass med school, so you better start eating healthy." That's probably a good motivator. Dad Says Joke said, "All of us older folks know all about living on the edge. We used to answer the phone without knowing who it was." It was box of chocolates. You just never knew what you were going to get. It was much less likely to be a telemarketer, I will tell you that. Alfie NXO said, just accidentally closed a tab that I've been meaning to read for the past 2 years.
Listen, I hate it when I do that.
It breaks my heart whenever I don't get the restore tabs.
Me.
Your computer reboots and you think, well, because it rebooted it, then it's going to reload your tabs, and then it doesn't give you that option. And I go, oh, no.
See, I don't
It's
keep a
over
bunch
for
of
me.
tabs open on my computer. Now, my phone, I'll sometimes keep, like, if I'm reading an article or something, I'll keep it open to go back and do it.
Yeah, I don't know how many are on my phone, but
I have 496
Oh.
tabs open on my
Okay,
phone.
I have
there's
like
a limit of 500. By
I
the
think
way.
I have like 8 open on my phone.
rid
I
of
have
it,
to
hit
get
it.
rid of those.
I
400?
I had the high 400s.
496. I
How?
promise it's right here.
Do you not clean them out?
How?
You just never close them.
No.
Because, and here's one reason, and I know why she has a bunch of them. Matter of fact, if you went to the 498, I'm going to go 20% of them.
Or Google?
No, our Monopoly Go.
Oh.
And here's why. Is because every time you go to the Tycoon Club daily, you get.
But that's not true. For me.
It's not true. There's 25%.
I mean, no, not of mine, because those are the ones when I open to go search for something else.
Yeah.
Those are the ones
You
that I
use them-
choose.
Okay, well that's fair. But a lot of them are because of that, because you get at least one a day,
Yes.
because you've got to leave the game to go into
But
a
see, I
browser.
won't choose a new one, right? I'll choose a Monopoly Go because I'm looking for a different subject matter. So, and then I might need to go back and refer to it.
Also, Sam, if you look and you say, mine flow from device to device. So you know the number of emails that you get from me in a day, early in the morning.
Yes.
Those likely just stay open in the background. They might not be in my window of my browser, but if
Because you
just
usually
look
do
at
that
all
from
the
your
tabs-
iPad, right?
That's right. And but the tabs then are open somewhere on my phone for convenience because of iCloud. So that's why a lot of it is. It goes back to what I said yesterday about the need. There's a lot of life maintenance needed these days. Dedicating time to closing out tabs, dedicating time to
Yeah.
getting rid of pictures that you're never going to use for any reason because you took 20 when you needed one.
I told you there's an app for that.
I know, but you didn't tell me the
Like,
name
look,
of the
right
app.
here. I'm
Gotta find it.
closing some right now, and I now have 7.
Okay.
7 open.
Wow.
If you fall
Don't hurt
into
yourself.
if you fall into one of these 10 parenting types, then be prepared to be judged. I'm not saying any of you fall into these. I'm saying if you find yourself in these, just be prepared to be judged. That's all I'm saying. I'm not the one
great.
choosing to judge you. These are coming from experts. One, the oblivious parent. The one that, is too busy chatting over coffee to notice that her son pretty much, beat up every kid on the playground. The justifying parent, the one that's, oh, he's just a kid. Yeah, guess what? Kids turn into misbehaving adults. The moody parent, the show-off parent, the angry parent, the label parent, the parent who has given up,
What is a label parent?
designer brands.
Oh.
Oh, I was going to go with like ADHD or like the ones that, okay.
The parent who has given up, the snotty parent. Now, I sound like a snotty parent this morning, but it's because my nose is congested. The snotty parent's the one that thinks they're better than everybody else in the PTA. The absent parent, that's the one that never shows up to anything PTA. And the lying parent. You're not fooling anyone. Word gets around,
I mean,
absent
parent is the worst one. At least the other ones are there.
Yeah, the absent parent, the absent parent is the worst one to that particular child. The absent parent is the best one to all the other parents. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
but little Billy wants mom at his game.
That's true. But if little Billy's mom doesn't know she should show up to the game, maybe she had a commitment. Maybe there's a legitimate reason. But if little Billy's mom never shows up to the games, I'm going to go out on a limb and say she's not a mom you want to sit and talk to in the bleachers.
Yeah.
That's what
Which is sadder for little Billy.
I'm going all in. I'm going all in on you. So then champion Little Billy's cause. If Little Billy's mom isn't around, then maybe you can cheer for Little Billy. Haribo has 2 new gummy candies coming to stores. So just be prepared to be on the lookout. They are Twin Snakes Tropical and Gold Bears Tropical.
Num num.
I don't want any of the Twin Snakes. Well, I think can't they just call them worms? I can manage to eat the gummy worms, but I don't want to eat gummy snakes.
I'll take yours.
That just doesn't work. And I've run across, you've heard me say that I don't mind being approaching mid-50s. Okay? I really don't mind it. There are parts about it that I really like.
It's not like you can stop it.
There's only one alternative, and I opt not for that one. Fair enough? But there are some things that when you cross over from being when you cross over to becoming middle-aged, and I think I'm probably beyond middle-aged, I don't think I'm going to live to 106, but I might. There are some things, though, that you have to address, and you go, well, okay, yeah, this is not something you had to do when you were 35. Or this is not something that you had to worry about. But my hearing is becoming a greater concern. So,
Especially in the industry we work in.
That's right. And I'm
In more ways than one.
Product of a profession. Yeah, because loud noises, studios, etc., and then wearing headphones all the time. Used to wear them a lot more daily than I do right now. But, and I have shared with you, like, crowded noise, background noise, etc. I can just tell, and I don't know if I'm worse than the average person. I shared with you recently about sometimes I think, what is tinnitus, or tinnitus, as some people will say. So this lands in my lap this morning. Hearing specialists reveal the 10 signs of hearing loss they would never ignore. So I'm going to do a little scorecard. A feeling of fullness in one or both ears. I'm not sure what a feeling of emptiness would be. So again, I have nothing to compare it to.
Yeah,
my
no,
ears
I-
are what my
yeah, I
ears
don't-
are.
I
So
don't
I
think
can't
I
tell
can.
you. 2, an increasing need to ask others to repeat themselves.
Yeah, that can be a lot of different reasons for that, though.
That's true.
Some of
And
y'all
there are 2
mumble.
of them that are similar. Well, precisely. But I find, so Alea is a backseat rider. And some of it's because of road noise. But I find myself asking Alea to repeat herself more than anyone. And I think that's partly my fault. I think that's partly her fault. 3, exhaustion after socializing. I think in social settings, I think your ears are working harder than you might realize a person is.
Oh, absolutely.
And it has a fatiguing kind of persistent tinnitus, a sudden drop in hearing in one ear. I don't really have that, but sometimes I get a sudden, like I can really hear in one ear, which I think is more of a sinus issue. 6, other differences between the ears. What, other? Like catch all other categories than these 10? That's unfair. I'm reducing the list to 9, not 10. Number 7, listening to the TV at a loud volume.
Uh-oh.
Number 8,
Is someone guilty?
complaining about mumbling.
Uh-oh.
They're so.
Number 9, difficulty following conversations when there's background noise. Oh yeah, before church is the hardest. There's buzzing and somebody's trying to talk to you. Number 10, comments from loved ones. So I'm getting about a 70%, at least a 70% on all of those.
So are we going to see in the hearing aids next week?
I don't think so.
Listen,
See,
if you complain about batteries,
I will not. Yeah, I'll not be
I
complaining about
will
the batteries.
lose my mind.
I will tell you though, I have a vision appointment before I have an ear appointment. So I don't want to do these things, but then I think, it improves your quality of life as you go through life. So just might as well lean into it and instead of going, huh? All the time. We got to get to a break. Today's Did You Know? Coming up here on In the Know.
Think
Thinking about furthering your education? At Elizabethtown Community and Technical College, you'll get a high-quality education close to home at a cost that won't break the bank. Enjoy small class sizes with professors who take a personal interest in your success. Scholarships are still available, making our low tuition even more affordable. ECTC's Litchfield campus is now enrolling for classes that start May 11th. Visit elizabethtown.kctcs.edu to get started. ECTC, College for the Real World.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com and get ready for the workday.
At Skechers, we put the S in comfort. Now, I know you're probably spelling comfort in your head and asking yourself, is that possible? Am I just a really bad speller? Look, I don't know your spelling aptitude, but Skechers most definitely put the S in comfort, because Skechers is the comfort technology company and has developed fits and features that change everything you know about comfort, like hands-free Skechers slip-ins, the ultimate in comfort and convenience. It's footwear you just step into and they're on, with no bending down. Find Skechers at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
At Owensboro Health Family Medicine in Litchfield, Dr. Priyank Chauhan provides compassionate care for adults and seniors. Board certified in internal and geriatric medicine, he's dedicated to managing chronic conditions, preserving independence, and enhancing the quality of life. Proudly serving Grayson County, because your health matters. Schedule today. Call Owensboro Health Family Medicine in Litchfield at 270-259-8888.
If your credit card bills have gotten out of hand, call Consolidated Credit now. If the interest rates on your credit cards are so high, it'll take years to get out of debt. Call Consolidated Credit now. They've helped over 10 million people without destroying your credit. They can reduce your interest rates, lower your total payments up to 30 to 50% to get you out of debt fast. For a free consultation, call Consolidated Credit now. The program works. Call 1-800-206-6755. 1-800-206-6755. 1-800-206-6755. Consolidated Credit Counseling Services, Inc., 5701 West Sunrise Boulevard, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33313. Licensed by the New York Department of Financial Services and by the Vermont Department of Financial Regulation. Maryland DM 1492, Oregon DM 80092. Licensed by the Virginia State Corporation. Commission license number DC 83. Service may adversely affect the individual's credit. Non-payment of debt may lead to additional finance charges or collections activity, including legal action, not a loan company.
Kids across America are going to school hungry. Millions of kids every day. But one simple thing can help change all of this for a hungry child in America. Good healthy food and the energy it brings. With help from caring people across America, No Kid Hungry is providing healthy meals and hope to hungry kids so they can build better futures. To learn more about ending child hunger in America, go to helpnokidhungry.org today.
K105 weather from the Wave Storm Tracking Team is brought to you by Smith Overhead Door, SOHD.info.
Twin Lakes weather. Keep an eye on the skies, especially this afternoon, and if you're heading to any outdoor events across the region. Thunderstorm chances continue to climb throughout the day. The severe weather risk is low, but we'll keep our wave weather alert day in place for those thunderstorms potentially impacting those outdoor events. Storm chances fade this evening, and the weekend looks quiet. From the Wave Storm Tracking Team, I'm Carson Meredith.
Don't miss the hottest songs in the country on American Top 40 this weekend. Haley Steinfeld joins us to talk about her new movie, Sinners, and new songs from Miley Cyrus and Ed Sheeran make their chart debut. It all goes down this weekend on American Top 40.
Did you know every 10 years the human skeleton renews itself? So you have different bones than you had 10 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't think the skeleton was
regenerative
or regenerative, or so it does make you wonder that it has to be micro, because otherwise
like
if they
cells, I
amputated-
guess.
Yeah, if they amputated someone, then theoretically their bone would grow back if it
Well,
were regenerative.
Right, but think of all the people. I mean, I've had a bone density test. I had it done years ago, because there was a certain medication that I was on, and it reduces bone density, and that I mean, people with bone density, I don't think that comes back. Like you don't get to rebuild that. So
Or osteoporosis.
right.
I mean,
So I really
it
don't
seems odd.
understand that.
NBC's Comedy Institution's Saturday Night Live is crossing the pond. They are taking SNL to Great Britain in a partnership with Sky, the British broadcaster, which is kind of the counterpart to NBC over there. It's called Saturday Night Live UK. So they will get I wonder how that'll translate. British humor is different. British humor is a lot different than American humor.
I mean,
I guess
you know,
they'll
more
tailor it.
Monty Python, your drier.
Yeah, it was without a doubt. Bowen Yang, speaking of SNL, Bowen Yang says SNL is, quote, so hampered in comedy because cast can't curse on the air. Well, Bowen, go to Netflix. If you think you've got to cuss to be funny, go on to Netflix, and that'll be just fine, because there are very few characters that he does, and they're written for him, and he's delivering them. I don't know that they're his characters that are entertaining, but by and large, I don't like him. I just think that I have always maintained that if you think that cuss words have to be in your arsenal in order to be funny, then you aren't funny. You're not doing it right. Now, I'm not saying that the occasional one is not okay or that it ruins things, but in my generation, the Andrew Dice Clay was not the one who I wanted to like. I didn't like that, and even Eddie Murphy was kind of too much. But
that's a generational thing too.
It is, without a doubt, and it's just becoming. I am still amazed to this day the places that I hear words commonly that when I was a kid you would have gotten slapped for.
I mean,
or fired.
The worst part is you could probably go to the Clarkson Elementary playground or the Wilkie Elementary playground, and it wouldn't shock me if you hear one of them.
Yeah, that's true. It's
happening.
It is.
Walter Goggins and Scarlett Johansson will close out season 50. Of course, most recently he's in The White Lotus, but he's Baby Billy in Righteous Gemstones. And we got the other day, we got to talking about Baby Billy's song when he goes to the resort, the retreat, and he does the music video, There's Gonna Be a Payday, There's Gonna Be a Payday Someday. And that song got stuck in my head. And lo and behold, I got a video from my sister this morning of it. It's like, oh, so stuck in your head too. Thank you very much. Katy Perry hits back at Spaceflight Backlash over on opening night of her tour. She gets no backlash from me. Those women that went on that Blue Origin tour, they get no backlash from me whatsoever. If I had an opportunity to do that, I would do that too. Just don't be expecting me to call you an astronaut.
Can I see that full screen?
It's not my decision, but sure, you can.
Okay.
So she just said something about, also addressed her critics directly, asking the audience, has everyone ever
I don't
called
pick these
your dreams
pictures.
crazy? Do what?
I said I don't pick the pictures. The pictures are picked for me.
Oh, no, I just wanted to see it. I like her, but yeah.
It is an interesting look.
It's a.
I don't know what it is.
It's a butterfly.
On the Rick Burgess yesterday, the guys were talking about when they've got, and I've done it as well. I've done the Richard Petty driving experience. Like I got in a car wearing the suit, wearing the helmet, going like 130 miles an hour or something like that at Kentucky Speedway. I don't walk around telling people I'm a NASCAR driver.
I was a little worried that you were going to say that you were going to wear this suit that she was wearing or something, and
I'll wear that to space. If
that means he gets to go,
if Jeff Bezos wants to take me to space and that's what I got to wear, I'm going. I got to get a break, and we'll come back. We got your Point to Ponder Chart Toppers, Pearl of Wisdom, and more coming up here on In the Know.
Being a good husband isn't rocket science, but there is an art to it. Things are rarely black and white in a marriage. Even when a guy thinks he knows exactly what to do, he can't be sure. Believe it or not, that can become a strength. Let me illustrate the point. Before my lovely wife, Jean, went into labor with our eldest son, Trent, she told me she wanted to give birth naturally. She said, I don't want any drugs when I go into labor. Even if I'm screaming for medication, don't give them to me. I was a little surprised at her request, but I told her I'd follow her directions. A few weeks later, she went into labor, and it was a lot harder than she anticipated. She struggled with Trent for 27 hours. Somewhere in the middle of all of it, she looked right at me and said, get the doctor, I want the epidural now. What would you do? Hopefully not the same thing I did. I tried to talk her out of it. I said, but honey, you told me not to let you do that. What can I say? I wasn't the smartest of husbands. I had a lot to learn. Like when your wife is in pain, you better do what she needs in the moment. Truth be told, I'm still learning, as every husband should be. Finding better ways to serve your wife is part of what will make you a good husband. Don't treat your marriage like a checklist or a stuffy rule book. Listen to your wife's words and her heart. Remember, being a good husband isn't rocket science, but there's an art to it. To help your marriage thrive, visit FocusOnTheFamily.com. I'm Jim Daly.
The words you are about to hear are taken from letters sent in by members of the Trinity Debt Management Program.
Dear Trinity, today I'm making my final credit card payment.
Before I came to you, I was in a constant state of anxiety and panic, but now there is hope for my family's financial future.
Working with Trinity made me understand that I'm not alone.
You really do help people.
Your kindness will never be forgotten. Without Trinity's support, I would not have achieved my lifelong goal of becoming debt-free.
We saved a lot on interest and penalties, of course, but the reward was the gift of human kindness.
Trinity has carried me through a very difficult time in my life. You're amazing.
I used to feel so anxious and hopeless. Now I feel grace and peace.
God bless Trinity as you continue to help others become debt-free.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976. That's 1-800-990-6976.
Midway Pharmacy might not have the best selection of fashion accessories, and that's because they're much more interested in your health and less interested in whether or not you're stylish. At Midway Pharmacy, you're getting more than a pharmacy. You're getting a pharmacist who's committed to working with you on all things health-related. Rely upon the full team of pharmacists at Midway Pharmacy. Experience what matters the most when you visit any county-wide location of Midway Pharmacy.
At Owensboro Health Family Medicine in Litchfield, Dr. Priyank Chauhan provides compassionate care for adults and seniors. Board certified in internal and geriatric medicine, he's dedicated to managing chronic conditions, preserving independence, and enhancing the quality of life. Proudly serving Grayson County because your health matters. Schedule today. Call Owensboro Health Family Medicine in Litchfield at 270-259-8888.
B&B's Point to Ponder for today. What question would you ask a time traveler from 200 years in the future? If you could talk to a time traveler from 200 years in the future, what would you ask them?
I'm going to need some lottery numbers.
But I mean, you got to think, is it just some random person that they drop in that, or is this like a family member?
I think it would be a random person. Because it would say if it was an ancestor, or I'm sorry, if it was a successor, someone to you in the future, then so it would be random. So it would be general knowledge that you would be able to ask them. That's hard. That's a hard thing to know.
Okay, a random person, that would be harder because,
I don't know.
Today's highlight in history, this date in 1898, the U.S. Congress declared war against Spain. Al Pacino is 85 today. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver is 63, Hank Azaria 61, Joe Buck 56, Renee Zellweger 56, Tim Duncan 49 today, gone but not forgotten, James Pierpont. He wrote Jingle Bells, born in 1822. Marconi, the father of radio, born in 1874, Edward R. Murrow in 1908, Ella Fitzgerald in 1917, Meadowlark Lemon in 1932. Meadowlark Lemon. He was with the Globetrotters for a while.
Between Murrow and Marconi, though, that's a pretty good 1-2 of our industry.
Big broadcasting day, without a doubt. Les Baxter, Unchained Melody, number 1 in 1955.
And then even if you want to throw Joe Buck in there, you know, I mean.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. For some reason, I don't think Joe Buck and Renee Zellweger should be the same age, and I don't know why.
Well, I would have never guessed Adam Silver was as old as he said he was.
Yeah, that's true. He's misleading. Twist and Shout, the Beatles, number 1 in 64. All right, I'd definitely have to save room for this one, because when she heard it was going to play, she said, yes!
Oh, listen,
1973. Let's get you there. Tie a yellow ribbon around the old oak tree. I've always been puzzled. It's Tony Orlando and Dawn, but there are
I've got to add that to my list right now.
there are two people, right? There are two women who are the performers. So are they collectively Dawn? Are they both named Dawn? Or does only one of them get named and like that's the incentive for the other one? If you keep working real hard and singing real pretty, we'll name you too.
I don't know. I don't care. Listen. I
That
love
might
it.
be the thing I would ask someone from 200 years in the future because they will have figured it out by then. The Go-Go's number 1. We got the Beat number 1 in 82. Do you ever see the documentary on them? It is very interesting. Belinda Carlisle and Jane Weedland and yeah, that was a time where there were not, women groups. There were not women pop groups like that. And so they were really trailblazers. Amy Grant was number 1 with Baby Baby, number 1 in 1991. She was a far cry from El Shaddai in 1991. It's a pretty good, wholesome song. But yeah, went to number 1, pop star. Mrs. Vince Gill. She and Vince still do a Christmas concert in Nashville every year. Vince is touring with the Eagles right now. Maria Santana, number 1, 25 years ago today. Flo Rida, Right Round, number 1, 2009. So 16 years ago today. And 7 years ago today, Meant to Be, BB Rexa, Florida Georgia Line, number 1, this date in 2018. MB's Pearl of Wisdom for today. Sometimes your joy is the source of your smile, but sometimes your smile can be the source of your joy. Sometimes your joy is the source of your smile, but sometimes your smile can be the source of your joy. MB's Pearl of Wisdom for today. Remember, God loves you, and I do too. If you don't know Jesus, let me know and I'll introduce you. Look forward to seeing you back here on Monday for another edition of our show. For Sam Gormley, for Beej, I'm MB, and now you're in the know.
The Twin Lakes Best Mix is WKHG, Litchfield. The Twin Lakes Best Mix, K105.